Ticket number 15649 is a modification request for the severe service categories field. So the user has requested to change the current input and output Boolean severe service category field to a single field. So the best approach for this would be to use a multi-select combo dropdown that allows the user to select from options identified in the system module. So if we come to the instrumented systems module, and we select a SIF, we come to the instrumented inputs tab. If we scroll down to one of the inputs and come to the severe service categories field, we now have a multi-select combo box, which we can save the changes for. And we can see those changes have been saved. If we come to the instrumented outputs, scroll down to an output, we can see that we already have severe service categories completed. We can add another one in there, save changes. If we then come to the instrumented systems reports, generate the report for this particular SIF. If we open up the report and we scroll down to the input we added the values to earlier, we can see that for severe service categories, we had the flashing and the high corrosion values coming through in the report. Ticket number 16434, link issue with response time measured. Response time measured should link to the latest event which has a valve response time logged. The device would have to be a child of an output, and we're going to use the demand date from the most recent demand event. So if we come to the operate maintain module, we can see that we've got a device here and we've got a demand event. So in the device, the response time measured is 7 seconds. This value has been assigned from the demand event. If we come to the demand event and look at the device demand results and look at this output, we can see the response time is 7 seconds. If we come back to the summary, we can see that the demand date was May the 29th. So if we created a new demand event with an earlier date than May the 29th, 2024, this value, the response time measured, would not be updated. However, if we created a new demand date which was later than May the 29th, then the response time measured at the device level would be updated. So if we come to the SIF and add a demand event, add a later date, so we'll go for the 31st of May. If we come down and enter some required values here, both passes, click next. We select our output device, click next. We change the observed response time to 58 seconds. Save the demand event. We can see that's been created. If we then come down to the device, we can see we have a pending calculation. If we run that calculation, we can see we've created a background task. Once that task is run, if we refresh SLM, we should see that the response time measured has changed from 7 seconds to 58 seconds. We can see the new response time measured was 58 seconds. This value was assigned from the new demand event, the latest demand event. If we just go to that demand event, look at the output device, we can see there that's where it gets the 58 seconds from. Ticket number 16491, suggestions for usability. So previously we'd made changes to the intersections on the cause and effects matrix, and these are the changes we made to allow for multiple editing. But the client has said that it looks too busy as it is now, and the edit button and the table headers on each intersection is not an improvement. So we've made further changes. If we come to the instrumented systems, we come to a cause and effects matrix. If we click the edit button now, come across to the intersections, We can make the changes we need to make and click save to save them all in one go. And we also have the ability to, you'll notice there's no table headers anymore. You still have the ability to go in and click on any intersection and just edit that one intersection and save changes. Ticket number 16493 is a request to upgrade the FSA Stage Management, which is currently a single select drop-down option. When an FSA is created in the background, associate all checklists that have a category of FSA with the FSA object. Upon creation of the FSA object, modify the stage selection to be a multi-select field so that the user may select stages 1, 2 and 4 or any combination. This selection will allow checklists only associated with the selected stages to be displayed in both the self-assessment, which is step 1, the FSA checklist, which is step 4, as well as the final FSA report, which is step 9. Also, allow the stage field of the FSA object to be edited after creation. So if we come to the FSA module, we come to a site, we add an FSA, and to link it to SIS 123. Click next. Give the FSA an ID. Let's call it FSA 123. Give it a name. Sprint. And we can select the stages here. We can select multiple stages or just a single stage. We'll select stage 1 for now and click save. This has created a background task to create the FSA and the linking. If we now look at the details of this FSA, we can see that we selected stage 1. So we'll only have the stage 1 checklists linked to this FSA. If we come to self-assessment, we can see that we've got the HAZOP and the LOPA verification. If we come to the checklists, we'll see the same. Come to results, we can see the FSA key findings, a HAZOP verification and LOPA verification. And we'll find that same information in the final report. FSA key findings. We come back to the workflow. We can change stage 1 to be stages 1, 2 and 3. So we'll now have more checklists associated with this FSA. So if we now come to the self-assessment, we can see that we now have additional checklists as we've added stages 2 and 3. Come to the checklists tab. Again, we have the additional checklists attached, and we'll find the same results in the results tab for the FSA key findings and also in the final report, the FSA key findings. Ticket number 16494. Improvements to the FSA parent object. So previously, the FSA was designed to be a child object of the SIS. This has proved to be unpractical. Most clients perform FSAs with scopes larger than a single SIS. So now the FSA object will be a child object of the site where the unit and SIS objects can then be associated with the FSA object using relational fields. If we come to the enterprise level, we can see the FSAs. If we come to the site level, the Beverly Hills refinery, we can see the FSAs. And now under the unit, we can also see the FSAs associated. So if we now add an FSA to this unit, select the SIS ID we want to associate with. So we'll go with SIS 123. Click next. FSA ID. We use FSA 123. FSA name. Sprint FSA. Stage, we'll just put stage 4. Save changes. This has generated a background task. The FSA has been scheduled to process related objects. If we click refresh, we can load the background task. We can see via the description it's building or updating FSA 123. If we wait for that process to complete, so now that FSA has been created, if we refresh SLM, we can see that it's been created with all the relevant links. If we come to the self-assessment, for example, Click the HAZOP verification step. We can see that that's set up and ready to go. If we close that, come to the checklists, click on the HAZOP verification. You can see that is all loaded in. And then finally, if we come to the SIS object, click on the FSA and just check the revisions tab. We can see that the FSA was created and it's linked to the site with the site label Beverly Hills Refinery. If we then come to that site, just as another check, and look for the FSA ID of FSA 123, which we just created, we can see that that's listed in there. Ticket number 16508. Port over FSA SSRS final report to Chromium Printout. If we come to the FSA module, come across to the reports and come to the FSA SSRS final report, we select our site, unit and FSA ID and generate the report. If we open the FSA report, have a scroll through, we can see that the report is displaying correctly. Ticket number 16089. SIF Target SIL, change NA to NR. So if we have an RRF of less than 10, the SIL should be NR for not required, as opposed to NA for not applicable. So if we come to instrumented systems, come down to a SIF, if we set the RRF to less than 10, so we'll just put 8, save changes, we should see the SIL value is NR. And there we have it.